Okay. Today, we will discuss the last module in the ISO 27001. It is the Annex A. What is Annex A? Annex A, it's a catalog. It consists of 114 security controls, and we are distributed across 14 sections. In ISO 27001, this we call it the ISO requirements. If you want to comply with the ISO, you have to get these clauses and implement these controls in your company. Do you have an idea? Sorry?
Sorry for interrupting you. Annex stands for what?
Annex يعني زي فهرس او حاجه زي كده يعني. يعني Annex دي مش اختصار.
It's like appendix?
Huh?
It's like appendix?
Yes.
Okay.
My question now, do you know what is the ISO 27002 and 003?
No, from my side away. I don't know.
Right. We well, I checked for the Annex in the Google Translate, sorry, and I found that it's called في العربي مرفقات يعني. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. ISO 27002 and 003, gentlemen, these are more explanation. 27002, it's explanation, more detailed explanation for Annex A controls. In 27001, you will find what are these controls, but the description, it will be just a summary for the description. It may not be clear for some persons, and we want more details to understand when we will be able to implement. In ISO 27002, it will be a detailed description of control Annex A controls. 27003, it will be detailed description for the clauses, the 10 clauses. Okay? Then this is the difference between 27001, 27002, and 27003. In Annex A, first one we will speak about it is the information security policy. And I think yesterday we discussed about the information security policy in the clauses, and we said that this is the responsibility of whom? Information security policy, it's responsibility of whom? Management or CEO, that's right. It's responsibility of security of management, of the top management. They are responsible for development, and this, it should represent the management intent for the security policy. This security policy, it must be updated regularly. It must be communicated. It must be communicated to all employees. Management should spend some time to explain the benefit of this security policy for the interested parties and through the awareness sessions and education. Okay? Organization of information security. When you will hear in ISO, gentlemen, organization, when you will hear organization, it means roles and responsibilities. It means roles and responsibilities, okay? In Annex number 6, it covers two different controls. What are these controls? Number one, control regarding managing information security within the organization with the roles and responsibilities. The second one for security of teleworking and mobile devices. طيب, gentlemen, on that I am not allowing teleworking or mobile devices at all in my organization. Then what should I do with these controls from Annex A?
I think it's supposed to be mentioned that it is not applicable for that organization.
That's right. This is the right answer. As we mentioned, there are some controls which it may not be applicable. Then you have to write in which document that this is not applicable.
In SOA.
SOA, which is a statement of applicability. That's right. Okay. In Annex 6, it covers or defines the information security rules and responsibilities. It maintaining contact with relevant authorities. It may be security incidents group, it may be reporting, it may be laws and regulations, it may be authority like NCA, whatever. Then you must have rules and responsibilities internally and externally. Internally and externally, who is responsible about the information security inside the organization, and who is responsible or contact person for ISMS and ISO with outside world, maybe vendors, maybe partners, maybe laws and regulation, maybe authorities, whatever it is. Another point, gentlemen, which I want you to take care of it. Look here what we are saying. Addressing information security in project management, regardless of the project type, make sure information security is a part of every project phase. When we are saying whatever is this project type, maybe manufacturing, maybe construction, whatever it is, just name it. We have to make sure that security is involved in all the project types and phases. Why? Why do you think that project security or ISO, we are caring about the project management? Project management, it's not a security issue. Why ISO, we have security controls for project management? Any answer? هو ده الهدوء الذي يسبق العاصفة ولا الهدوء اللي بيسبق النوم؟
لا أعتقد الخيار الثاني أبو يحيى.
لسه النهارده الخميس لسه.
لا هو إن شاء الله، يعني إن شاء الله أنا في التريننج الجاي إن شاء الله هبقى أوزع بطاطين.
والله يعني أكون شاكر ليك جدا. خلاص I'm going to be in the next training.
نحن معك أبو يحيى، نحن معك.
معايا عشان البطانية طبعا.
أحضر مرة ثانية إن شاء الله.
I think Abu Yahya, the security controls, it requires to be there for project management to ensure the introduction of the new services or the new products that it will be done within the boundary of the security policies and standards that have applied or it should be applied into the environment.
بالضبط كده. Again, gentlemen, please don't forget that we mentioned in ISO 27001, we are caring about assets. In project management, you have objectives for the project, and these projects, it have some output, right? Or product which it should be received. It can be tangible or non-tangible. By the end of the day, this is considered as an asset for the company. Then if a product failed, this it will affect what? The company as overall. And in security, we said definition of security. You remember what is the definition of security from day one? What was the definition of the security? CIA. CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Then if the availability is affected, then this means that you have a problem with the security. Then in project management, we have to make sure that the project, it will succeed. I don't care about to succeed in budget or in timing or in resources. This is not my target for ISO. I want to make sure that it's secure information, it's secure. It will provide the information and availability of the service. Okay? This is the objective of the ISO 27001 in project management, security of project management. Take care, because this point, in some situation, it will make conflict. What is the relation between ISO 27001, which is ISMS, information system security, management security, and the project management? This is the project management, and you will find more details about it in appendix number 6. And as we mentioned that in Annex A, we have controls for information security in organization and of teleworking and mobile devices. Then you will find some controls to manage teleworking, which it's considered as teleworking where you are working from home, for example, or on the road or whatever, where you are connected remotely to the organization resources, or through mobile devices, as bring your own device, for example. Okay?
Can I have one question here?
Sure.
Now, the meaning of controls itself, the controls, does it mean like hardware, software, or a system that will be applied, or no, it can be anything?
If you remember, in day number 1, we mentioned that we have different type of controls. And we said that in controls, you have divided into architecture and function. Architecture, it can be administrative, it can be managerial, it can be technical, it can be physical.
I got it, yes.
Okay?
Okay, fine.
Okay. Annex A.7, it explains the human resource security. And as if you remember when I told you why HR is important, and I asked this question, I think first day, we said that people, they are assets for the organization. Besides, they are the weakest point in the security chain. Okay. In human resource security, we have 3 phases. We have 3 phases. What are these 3 phases? Phase number 1, before hiring. Phase number 2, during employment. Phase number 3, after termination. What is the exercise which is the company should do regarding hiring employees before the real employment? What should it do with these new employees? What do you think?
Background checks.
Right, background checks. I have to make sure what is his background, where did he work before, what is his reputation in the market, is he have any bad experience with the hacking or whatever, or he was terminated from other companies and so on. Good.
Pre-qualification.
Pre-qualification, excellent. What is his qualification? I want to hire him for a specific title. Then what is his competence? What is his qualification and competence? Good. What else? You have to explain to him what is his role and responsibility regarding security, quality, and all these things. Right? Because it's easy, if he had any problem, he will tell you, sorry, I don't know that I should not do this. Then you have to explain him everything before joining the company, after he immediately joined, okay? This phase number one. Phase number two, what is the responsibility of the company or organization for its employees?
I think the first point is orientation.
What do you mean by orientation?
Orientation is defining the company, the organization for the employee, defining the different departments. This is what we are doing. As an example, in the hospital, they took the new employee and make for him orientation for two days or 3 days. The sessions, every session will be defining from different departments. They will bring one of the department head to identify what is their department, what they are doing, and what is the relation between his department and that department which is introduced the orientation.
Okay, good. Then orientation, what else? Awareness, training. Gentlemen, if your employee is not satisfied in the company, it will represent weakness. Take it as a learned lesson in your life, not only for ISO, but in general. If your employee is not satisfied in your company, he will represent a weakness point in your organization. He will try to revenge if he is not satisfied, if he is angry, if he is not feeling that he have his rights or have the suitable salary or whatever. He can steal data. He can cause some problems for your network and data. At least he will leave you, he will leave the company, and he can work in any other competitor. He can leak your data. One of the really most weakness points is disgruntled employee. Disgruntled employee is the employee who is not satisfied about his position in the company due to lack of education, of awareness, of salary, and so on. And it is, unfortunately, you will find that if you are not care about your employee, your competitor, he will care about him. You can increase his salary 10% or 20%, and you will feel that you did a great job with him. But on the other side, your competitor, he may ask, or he will give him 100% over his salary, just to let him to move from your company to his company. Okay? Take care about these points. You may find a question in the exam about it. What is the last phase? Termination or leaving the company. What are the responsibilities of the organization? What should they do with the employee who is leaving the company? What do you think?
I think first is canceling his access, door access, removing the door.
Okay, cancel his access over the network and the resources. What else?
He should return back all things that he has, it like a laptop.
You are right. You are right. All
Any
assets.
asset. Yeah, all
You are
assets.
right. You are right. To return all the
Stop
assets.
his account.
Yeah, stop his account, as Ashraf he said that he have to terminate his credential over the network resources.
Okay.
Then terminate his account or his credential, return assets. Don't forget, gentlemen, that if this employee he had sensitive data, he must sign an NDA before leaving the company. Then if there is any data, it's leaked through him, he will be under a case, illegal issue.
Actually, he will sign this, I think, in the beginning of the work, yeah? When he starts
in
the
some
work.
situation, he may need it to sign it because legally he will say if this is signed as a start, then it will be valid for employment period. But if he sign it after, then this means that it will be valid forever. Anyway, this is a legal point, but just keep it in your mind. But by the end of the day, it's a legal point or HR point.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
Right.
These are the phases which should be covered in the HR security. Okay, asset management. Asset management, we have 3 different controls for the asset management Annex 8. We have control for data classification, for media handling, and asset responsibilities. 3 different controls. What are they? Data classification, media handling, and asset responsibilities. In data classification, data, it should be classified. Data should be classified. Who is responsible to classify the data, gentlemen?
Maybe the owner of the data.
Okay, any answer? Any other answer?
I think it's also the management.
Okay, the person who is responsible for classifying the data is the data owner, not the management, not security department, not IT department. It is the data owner. The data owner is responsible for classification and assigning rights. Classification and assigning rights. Okay? What do you mean by... Okay.
The data owner here, sometimes he doesn't familiar with type of the classification of data. Should be someone is understanding the nature of data and how
No. You have to explain to him the classification of the data.
So who
you
is
have
responsible?
to explain to him.
Who is responsible for putting the foundation or the clarification rules?
It depends upon the organization, how the data classification it was implemented. Is it implemented as a project? Then it should be in the scope. If it's not in the scope, then there may be another project or maybe as awareness. It depends upon the organization. There is no right answer here. It depends upon the workflow in the organization. Because by the end of the day, if I don't know the data, if I am security administrator or management or whatever, I am not familiar with the data in a proper way. The only one who can know the data well is the data owner. When the person who is responsible for the classification of the data is the data owner.
I agree with you, but as you know, Abu Yahya, sometimes, the owner of, for example, if I am the owner of any kind of asset in my organization, I'm treating it as a critical or top confidential, or but at the same time, from business point of view, it might be not like that.
Yes, you're right. This is one of the main problems which we are facing in classification. Then you must have some sort of audit. Let me give you some examples. For example, if you have an organization, it's saying that if you have a confidential data, it should not leave the organization premises. You have to work inside the company on this data. But you are the data owner and you want to take this data or this document to study it in home, and you want to send it to yourself by email. Then you can log in and change your classification into internal use or general use or whatever. Then you will be able to transfer it through the DLP devices. Yes, it happens. It can happen. But how we can solve this problem? Number one, awareness, because I will assume that it's done in a good by good intention, not bad intention. Number two, awareness. I have to explain the persons. What is the benefits of the security controls which I have it to disallow any taking this data outside my company premises. Finally, it will be the audit process. I have to choose some random data and check the classification and to report this to the management. And they have to review it in management review or whatever. This it should come in the internal audit reports. Okay?
And I think recently this audit has been automated by some tools that can do some inspection of the messages or on the data, and if it found some mismatching between the data classification and the content, it triggers a notification.
You are right. There are some software it can do this, but unfortunately, their false positives are a lot. Yani, for example, if the software, it knows that if you have any data or any document, they have payroll, a word of payroll, or a word of whatever, yani, some words, when you have this, it should be confidential. But it may mention payroll, but payroll, it's not mention any numbers. Then it will say that there is a violation, although it's not a violation. Then you cannot depend upon this 100%. It's a tool, it will be helpful, but you will not be able to depend upon this tool as 100% accurate tool.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, who is the owner of the data?
The one who developed it. The one who developed it.
Okay, for example, there is a team and they are having some application, for example, and they are the owner of the assets for that application, like servers or devices or whatever. So they are basically the owner of the data residing within their assets. Is that correct?
Yes, you are right. And
each application
I
team,
have another
basically.
point, gentlemen. Suppose that you have an application and this application is generating data itself. For example, the logging. Logging information, it's not developed or it's not entered by someone. It is developed or populated by devices. Then who is the owner? Is it the device?
No, the device owner should be.
It is the person who is owning the device.
Yes.
Okay? Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. The second control in the asset management is the media handling. What does it mean? How you will take a media outside your organization, hard disk, flash, USB, whatever. Then what are the rules which it will control the media handling? And what is the asset responsibilities? What is the responsibilities of employees regarding these assets? Okay. As we mentioned that the assets are very important because this may contain a data or it may affect the organization. You must have acceptable use policy for your assets. This is very important, acceptable use, not only for assets, maybe for internet, for applications, for whatever. It depends upon your organization. For dealing with assets, it's very important to understand some points, gentlemen. First of all, you have to create an inventory asset. This is very important. You have to create an inventory asset from any location. It may be a CMDB, it may be a risk assessment, whatever. But by the end of the day, I must have an inventory asset. I must have an owner for each asset. I must have an owner for each asset. I must have an acceptable use policy for these assets. And of course, after my employment in the organization, I have to return this asset to the company. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions? Annex A.9, it deals with access controls. Okay, Let me ask you a question, something to let you remove the blanket and try to think a little bit. When we say access control, usually it will have the concept of AAA. What does this A stands for?
It's authentication, authorization, and auditing.
سباب الخير يا أشرف والله ما شاء الله عليك.
لا.
لا بس هي الأخيرة مش صح.
Not auditing?
Accounting.
Thank you, Adnan. Accounting. What is authentication? Who are you? It's very simple. Who are you? I am Osama. Is it really Osama? How can you prove Osama? I can prove it because this is my password, my username so and Osama so and so. Okay, then you are Osama. Who are you? What is authorization?
Permissions. Permission to do or not.
What you can do. Are you allowed to access application, use application or not? Accounting.
Logging.
What you did. What did you do? Yeah.
This is the AAA. Just for your information, now we add one more suffix. What is it? What is it? Now we will find identification management. When now in the new concepts in security, you will find identification, how to be identified. Okay?
Okay, but what is the difference between identification and authentication?
Aha. Identification, who you are, if you want to make it like that, who you are. In this case, prove your identity.
They separated, you mean? They split it into two area.
Yeah, because now we have in identification, it may be a person, it may be a process, it may be application, whatever. Then you will have prove your identity.
Yes.
Okay, is it clear?
Okay.
Good.
ابو يحيى ما فيش النهارده بريك؟
في بس انا هخلص السلايد دي وهنقف على طول. But this is the access control, gentlemen. What is access control? This very simply, if you will read all this, it will be covered by the AAA. I will go through it very quickly. Annex A control user management, user responsibilities, and state control policy should be documented based on the business and the information security needs. Only authorized user should be access the network, assigning access rights, which we call it permissions or authorization, using password or other type, defining user rights, restricting and controlling use of privileged utility program, which is, we call it the administrative accounts. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.